Hello everyone, this is Justin Smythe from nextbigtrade.com. This is stage 2 breakout pullbacks for November 8th, 2024. As I discussed in the newsletter, with the market erupting higher after the election, there's less pullback buying opportunities than we've seen in the past, but there are some that look interesting, and there's always better risk reward when you're buying after a pullback versus trying to find a good place to buy after a breakout. So we'll look at some potential pullback opportunities here, starting off with OKLO. This one is related to the artificial intelligence theme as a utility stock. Obviously a monster winner out of these September correction lows. And we had this as a pullback buy back here, which turned out to be a monster. And then it's ran higher recently and started to find resistance around this 28 level. And it's kind of come back down and retested this 18 level a couple different times. I think that's where you'd want to look for a pullback here. If we can get one more pullback to this level, I think that'd be a good place to buy. And then looking for perhaps another huge move higher in this stock before this overall move is over. On the daily chart, you can see how on Friday it pulled back again on an increase in volume, and since the volume increased, that might mean this has more room again to pull back. And if so, that would be a reason to kind of target this 18 to 20 area for another pullback. If we get a pullback there, you've got this consolidation, this kind of choppy consolidation, and then perhaps again it blasts off higher, and you've got this level to trade against. You take a stop if it goes below this, and then if not, you're off to the races. So that's what I look for here. You need more of a pullback, probably another move down to that low 20s area would be a good buy point. A couple lithium stocks. These ones are starting to pull back after their first initial huge move. LAC still right against that 30-week moving average. You see volume starting to decline a little bit on the pullback. On the daily, you can see how it started to kind of bounce off the support and the 30-week moving average at the end of last week. Volume's tapered off. This is a pretty good setup if you're not extended at all, and you've got the support right here to trade against. Looking for a resumption of upside. SLI, another one that's kind of consolidated sideways after the initial move higher. Volume declined last week. On the daily, kind of pulling back to that 20-day moving average. If we do get a break lower down to that 50-day, that might be a good place to buy as well. And then, this is nice how the volumes decline there, but it's kind of like dancing on top of the 20-day right now. So if it does break through, this would be a sizable pullback. And then looking for a bounce here. So that's kind of, current area or a little bit lower is a good place to buy this one. Uranium stocks, CCJ, a couple of these have a couple week pullback now to these former resistance levels. So we'll see if this acts as support. And then, you've got a better risk reward buy point here, right at support. And these are related to the utility AI theme as well. So again, you've got the retest of the former resistance on this pullback. Let's see if it holds here and we resume higher. Need to see volume kind of come back in here. DNN, same thing, sizable pullback to former support levels. Volume starting to taper off. Looking for a resumption higher. On the daily, retesting the gap area on strong, where it kind of busted out on strong volume. So looking for a bounce here. So you've got nicely defined level to look for a bounce, and then you take a stop if it goes below this. Finally, NXC, another major uranium stock. This one did show a perk up in volume last week. Again, it's kind of retesting the 30-week and the 10-week moving averages on the pullback, looking for a resumption higher. You see how it kind of bounced off the moving average. Volume was a little bit heavier on the pullback, but nicely finding support. So you've got a pretty good area to look for more upside here. A couple of biotech stocks. This one's had a major pullback. This one erupted on volume back in early September and is now sitting on the 10-week moving average. So you kind of use that as an area to trade off of. Also, you've got the gap right here. On the daily, you can see how this one is starting to find support here. Volume has dramatically tapered off. So kind of looking for just a resumption here and to see an increase in volume on another breakout. Another one that had a monster move that's pulled back, ORKA. Kind of found support here at the 10-week on this bounce. Looking for a resumption higher. In the daily, you can trade against this gap basically. And you'd be looking to see like an increase in volume here. Obviously, this one doesn't really have, this one trades pretty light volume, so this is kind of a risky one to get into, but you've got nicely defined support here against the gap area. Technology stock, ASTS, former monster winner in 2024, huge pullback now, starting to show some buying pressure, kind of reversing. You've got these candles reversing here, and then it kind of finally broke through this support area this week, but look at how the volume's tapering off. First major retest of the 30-week is on the table here. That's usually a good place to buy. And you basically got a 50% correction off this high. So these are the type of huge pullbacks that are good buying opportunities, because now all the weak hands are flushed out that got in too late, and it's finding a very solid support area to launch another bounce off of. So getting down to a good area here. See how it took away all the gains from this move, but it's sitting right there at the shelf, and you got the 30-week right there. Volume is tapered off dramatically. So you've got tight risk reward here, looking for a resumption higher. Need to see an explosion in volume. So here, if you see a stock like LUNR and then ASTS starting to take volume, you know like the space theme is heating up again. WIX, nicely defined resistance here, big consolidation after this move higher on volume. Volume is tapered off dramatically. Looking for a breakout here. On the daily, you can see this nice consolidation. Lots of trapped longs that bought after this breakout. Stock goes nowhere. Buying pressure dissipates, and then all of a sudden we get a resumption of the move. So pretty well defined risk reward. You can take a stop, under these recent support levels, and looking for a breakout here. WOOF, another one, big pullback after a massive volume breakout. Volume tapering off on the pullback, and you've got well-defined support here. On the daily chart, again, well-defined support to trade off of. Getting back into the huge gap up area, and then looking for a resumption higher. Finally, a couple more, SBUX, another one that really went into a big stage 4 downtrend, massive gap up on volume, consolidating that nicely now for multiple weeks. volume tapering off. You've got BROS breaking out this week. That helps this stock. Looking for resumption higher. Getting back to the 10-week moving average now. And you could use this as a stop level. And then LVS, another one kind of similar to Starbucks with this consolidation after a big move higher. Right at the 10-week moving average. On the daily chart, pulling back to this gap area. Still a little bit of an increase in volume here. I'd rather see this lower, so maybe this one's got more room to pull back. However, you've got a gap here as well. So it's getting back into a better risk reward, and after a consolidation, looking for a resumption higher. So you've got a number of stocks that have kind of consolidated sideways that could resume higher. You've got lithium and uranium could rebound with the utilities theme. OKLO, big winner earlier in the year. That could be another one that heats up again. ASTS, same type of thing. So there are some pullback opportunities with better risk reward in this market.